This is Ilene Rein from Pounding Pavement 101. I am here today with Kern discussing his newfound job and his job search. How are you doing today, Kern?
As good as can be expected.
Well, we're going through a COVID situation, but you have found employment, and I am so thrilled about that. So we started working together a couple of months ago. How long were you searching for a job before we started working together?
Well, a little background. I got laid off because of COVID, and was really kind of worried about the market generally, because who knew, right? And so I started looking, not immediately after I was laid off, because I thought I was going to be rehired, and then eventually got noticed that that was not going to happen. So what I did is I started looking with the materials that I kind of already had, and sort of half-heartedly for probably about a month and a half. But I wasn't getting any traction at all. I mean, it wasn't going anywhere. And so, yeah, about a month and a half with the very little happening.
Once we started working together with your resume, and I was showing you what recruiters are really looking for. Did you see a difference in your resume,
Oh, sure.
in generation of calls?
Yeah, and I kind of remember the conversations that we first had. As you know, and as everybody's going to know, I'm in marketing. That's really the kind of job I was going to be looking for anyway. But one of the problems that I have, and I think a lot of people have, is it's really hard to look at yourself. It's really hard to look at yourself and say, how can I market myself? Even if you're a marketer, right? And so I didn't know how to get that view of my material, of my resume, of my background, from outside of my own head. And I knew I was struggling with that, and I knew that Stefan knew you, so that's how we got together. And when you were pointing out the things that I had to do to the material, I knew you were right. I knew these were the right things to do. I've got background that tells me these are the right things to do. I couldn't see it for myself. And so I had to get help, professional help, somebody who knew what my audience was. My audience is the recruiters, the people who are looking for employees, what that audience is looking for and how to present it. And that's just basic marketing. I just needed an expert.
The hardest thing to do is to market yourself and look objectively at the information. And really, job searching is a marketing project. So instead of marketing a product or a business, we're marketing people to employers. And that's the difference. So we worked on the resume and we developed a resume that was going to generate calls. Was it generating calls? But we also were working on job search strategies in order to speed up the job search.
We were, and first I'm gonna drop a little bomb. It took me 3 months to find a job. Now I'm gonna explain why it took me 3 months. With your help, it took me 3 months, and I'm gonna explain why it took me 3 months. It took me 3 months to get a job because I didn't do everything you told me to do.
Ooh, you're sharing that with me now. Follow the plan, and it works.
You knew it. What I did do was apply for as many jobs as I could as often as I could, which of course was great advice. What I didn't do fully is some of your other advice about networking, some of your other advice about going out and looking in non-traditional places for jobs. And so anybody who's going to work with you in the future, if you really want to make it move fast, do those things. I didn't do them for a number of reasons that I thought were good. But also, as much as I wanted a job, I wasn't as worried about it happening in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month. I actually am quite happy with the 3 months that it took. That might sound crazy, but I am.
You were looking for the right position also. you were looking for something that you were going to get excited about, that you wanted
Yes.
to wake up and go to work every day.
Yes.
And you wanted it to be a good fit professionally as well as culturally.
Yep. And those different things meant that I was a little bit pickier about what I applied to, so I didn't quite hit the numbers that you wanted me to. But you know, I could have also searched those out a little bit better using the networking. I did some social networking. I actually did have a couple interviews based on some of those recommendations of going out and finding, you know, jobs in, you know, job postings in non-traditional places and networking. I had a few interviews from that, and some of them were promising. But had I done that more, I probably could have moved faster. But as you know, I was doing a lot of other things on the side too, and wasn't really worried about, you know, closing the deal right away because I had all this side stuff going on. So it worked out really well for me, in the sense that, you know, I found the job I wanted. I found the one that excites me, that fit. You know, all of that came together.
And that is wonderful. I was so thrilled when you called to tell me not only that you became employed, but you were having 2 to 3 interviews a week leading up to that. And then you had to cancel 4 interviews, you told me. That was just truly thrilling.
It turned out to be 5 that I canceled. So what was happening
in the month, wait, this is now December. So in the month of December, okay, during holiday season, that was the kind of activity that you were generating.
I canceled 5. Yeah, I canceled 5 interviews in the first 2 weeks of December. And one was today.
But you're meeting with me instead, which is great.
But I'm meeting with you instead. Yeah, one was going to be today. But what happened was, you know, as I just started getting out there more and more, and that's the trick, as you pointed out, is get yourself out there, apply for the jobs, you know, do the networking, look in non-traditional places. Initially, you know, it doesn't usually happen that you start getting calls right away. Just that's not what happened for me either. But then they just started picking up. And what's interesting is not only did the calls and the scheduling for interviews start picking up, but eventually they started happening more quickly. I don't know if that makes any sense. Maybe I started getting good at finding jobs that I fit for better, but I started getting calls for interviews within a day or two of posting of applying. And I think part of that is just that you become more, you know, once you do this for a little while, you start to see, yeah, I fit here. And these people are, you could almost say, I'm going to get a call on this one. You know, it got to be that point where I could kind of predict, yeah, I'm going to get a call on this one, or I'll get an interview on this one. And what's funny is I did some interviews. I did quite a few, actually, if you think about it, because I was getting 2 or 3 a week for a while. And didn't get that final offer. And I didn't go through your how to do the interview stuff, because I know you offer
interview training as well. This is a 3-pronged process. It's resume development, interview preparation, job search strategies. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. And I'm sure that would be extremely valuable. I think a part of what kept me from getting the offers was a lot of times, and again, I was looking for just the right thing. And a lot of times I would be in that interview and it became pretty obvious that this was just not just the right thing. It wasn't so much simply that they didn't think I fit. I didn't think I fit. And although I never said that, I'm sure it came across.
Well, an interview is a 2-way process. So the company is interviewing you, but you're also interviewing them. Okay. And it has to be a good fit. And I think you were seeing that in the interviews, that it wasn't a good fit. And boy, you were getting so much activity that it was okay for you to continue searching and not take a job that you wouldn't be happy at.
Absolutely. I mean, that once you get enough activity, and I was starting to feel pretty excited about getting 2-3 interviews a week. You know, when it turned to 5, that was, you know, when it got there, it was a little bit freaky, but I was pretty comfortable once that started happening, that it was going to keep happening because the process was down. And so you're right. I didn't necessarily feel bad about, you know, when I was through with the interview, thinking I'm not going to get a call back on that one, because I didn't want it. You know?
And that's just as important.
Yeah. And I did actually get a couple of calls for second interviews where I kind of made it clear, you know, I don't think I'm right for this. I got a couple of calls from headhunters, where recruiters, however you want to
Don't
call
take
them.
it personally.
I got a couple calls from recruiters, and I had to say, you know, and they found my resume because of some of the you know, guidance that you gave me. But I got calls from them, and I had to say, no, you know, don't put me in for this. This is not right. I don't want it. So, yeah, I mean, it worked really well. I think it could have gone faster. You know, had I spent a little bit more effort on some of the things you suggested. I'm glad it didn't. I think I could probably have gotten more offers had I gotten into your guidance about doing interviews. But as it was, the help that you gave me was exactly right. And how much I used it was exactly right. So.
And we were going back and forth, and I kept pushing you to get yourself out there. It increases your chances. The more you increase your visibility, the more chances you have of getting noticed. And
it, you know, I don't have to tell you, and I don't, you know, edit this out if you want to, but looking for work is a horrible job.
Yeah.
It's not fun. It's not exciting. You have to push yourself. I remember one day I was busy applying for things, and I had set myself a reward. Okay, if I get, you know, 5 jobs applied for, I can go and ride the stationary bike for 45 minutes.
That's your reward?
How bad it was.
Riding a bike was your reward? Okay, look, I would have sent you chocolates. So, you know, let's make this a little bit more exciting. Okay.
That's how bad it was. A reward was you know, exercising for 45 minutes. So, and I don't like exercising. But that was it. It was like, you know, so it's not fun. But I say that because, you know, if you want to do this, you got to do it. You got to do the work. You got to put in the time. You got to listen, Ilene. You know, and it's not going to be fun. But at the end result is good.
Well, the idea is to speed up the process, so this way you're not spending 6 months doing this, and we narrow this down into a 3-month search. Because not only are you not earning a salary, those are months that you're losing money, that you don't have income coming in. And more importantly, you want to get back to doing what you do. You don't want to be applying for jobs. This becomes an admin task almost. Just applying, and selling yourself on the phone. You're a marketing person. You want to get out there and get back to work is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So
and that's where we are. Worked out. So what else? You got any more questions?
That's all I have for you. Thank you so much, Kern. I greatly appreciate all your comments. And if you have advice to your old self, let's fast forward backwards to when you were first let go due to COVID. What would you tell yourself?
Beside making sure I was independently wealthy before any of this started.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. That's what I'm telling you. You know my son, and I know my son, and I'm telling my son, put that money away, buddy, while you can, because you're going to want it later. So I think, you know, probably I should have talked to you and reworked the resume earlier. I knew it needed it. I did. and I just didn't want to do it. I was just procrastinating. I knew it wasn't quite right. And so probably my advice would have been to contact you 2 months earlier, and get going on getting the resume right and getting a strategy, for how to do it.
Job searching becomes a job, and you have to treat it as such.
Yep. And it's not a job I would want.
Well, and that's why I do what I do, to share those inside secrets from the seat of the recruiter, to help people through their job searches. And I now have taught you everything that how a recruiter searches, what they're listening for, how to navigate this process. So hopefully you don't have to do it again. But if you had to, the resume is ready to go at any given time. You know the skills, you know how to do this. And we'll work on interview skills next time.
Well, and I'll tell you what, if I end up here again, God willing, I won't. If I end up here again and I have to do the resume again, I'm having you look it over, because there's I still don't think I have the right, it's so hard to step out of yourself and look at it, from a different perspective. So I'd probably have you look it over anyway.
It'd be my pleasure. And hopefully we won't have to. It'll be a nice long employment, and I wish you luck at the new job.
Okay, well, thanks so much.
Thank you.